I'm Ramond. I will be doing my mission essay biography thingamajig on Brother Andrew's book called God Smuggler. Brother Andrew really is the pinnacle of missional excellence, his book really is quite inspiring. I will say, definitely for sure, for sure.
All right, so who was Brother Andrew?
Good question. Brother Andrew was born in Sweden around 1938, just about the middle point, so to speak, of World War II. A young lad, 7 siblings, mom and dad. He was an adventurous young man, very adventurous, doing anything from pouring sugar in the jeeps or vehicles of Nazi officers and soldiers while his town was under Nazi occupation, to throwing firecrackers in their barracks to freak out the Nazi guards. He was a young adventurous man for sure. Around this time, his brother passed away, and his mother was looking gravely sick. And Nazi occupation forcing them to ration out food, Brother Andrew was beginning to wane away from God and start looking away towards other more secular things.
Oh, well, that sounds kind of boring. What did he actually do?
That's a good question. Well, after this portion of his life, he became a young man around the age of 16 or 17, and he joined the Allies in the fight against the Nazis and the Axis as a whole. He had a 4-year deployment out in Indonesia. While he was out in Indonesia, a great tragedy kind of fell upon him. While he was in Indonesia, him and his platoon were walking throughout an Indonesian city/village, where a bottle broke or a loud noise was heard, causing one of his men to fire off their guns. In this stressful time, surrounded by possible enemies, all of the men started firing their guns in random directions, killing everyone, destroying buildings, just causing havoc. When the smoke cleared, however, they realized no one in the city was armed, and that it was a minor child's toy that caused a loud bang to start off. After the possible murder of several innocent men, women, and children, Brother Andrew was racked with grief and guilt and trauma, and he began to sport a yellow hat to kind of signify like an "I'm here" type of thing towards the enemy, as he did want to die, and he had no more care for his own life. It really is quite sad.
Yeah, that's really depressing, actually. I thought he was a missionary. It's like, when does that start?
Okay, so actually pretty soon, actually. So something I neglected to tell you was before he left for Indonesia, his mother gave him her Bible to kind of take and read while he was deployed. Brother Andrew didn't finish his 4-year deployment as he was shot in the leg during around his 3rd year. This caused him to draw out of the fight, kind of taking away his glorious death that he yearned for as a young man. While he was in the hospital recovering from this bullet wound, he started reading more into his mother's Bible and started really connecting back with God, and he was just enamored with it. Some time passed, his leg was brought back, he's healed, and he returned back to his hometown, where tragedy struck once again. Upon returning home, he learned that his mother had passed away from disease. Again, racked with guilt and racked with just not hatred, but just confusion and wondering and why. He just prayed and prayed and prayed to God, you know. In his time back home, he started going to church more often to try to understand why would God allow such terrible things to happen. And yeah, that's where he really started to grow as a missionary, for sure.
All right. So how does the story end? And like what's the point?
Okay, so basically that's a big jump, but what I will say is this: after some time preaching and kind of grappling with his faith, he was invited to go to Czechoslovakia on a students' retreat to show how great the SSR and the Communist Party really is. He went there. It's not very good. Infrastructure was done poorly. People were starving. Just a whole mess of things. He went to go and preach and pastor, but he couldn't because, you know, communist country. He went to Scotland to be formally trained to go to other behind the Iron Curtain type cities, you know, communists. He went there. He learned about the royal way, which, to keep it short, is like trusting on God and making a game on how God will provide for his needs, you know, as he was a broke college student. So that happened. He went to the Iron Curtain, preached, prayed, wrote his book. This is around like when he was like 30 or 40. Wrote the God Smuggler. Yep, God Smuggler. And just boomed and excelled all over the land. And around 50 or 60, he retired after leaving behind a great legacy just trusting God, putting his faith in God, and really just showing how much God can care for us and care for all of us around the world despite any circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Sorry if this seemed like rushed. I had to cut it down 3 minutes. But yeah, so it doesn't beat 5 minutes. Have a great Christmas. Love you, love you. Mwah. I'll see you all next semester.
Merry Christmas.